your organisation where this could be improved? Okay, alright, so let's look at some ways that we can improve it. Don't worry, we'll go a few more of these at the moment. If you have a look further down the page there, if you're following along, I have 3 things that I think are the factors that go into creating that dream team. Of getting you the most number of people who are going to be in that green and keen area and the minimum number who are going to end up mean or has-beens. And I call them the 3 R's, nice and easy to remember. RP, RJ, RM. And this is what they stand for. RP is the right person. I'll come back and talk about it in a moment. So the right person. RJ is the right job. Anyone want to guess what RM is? Right money, someone said. Was that you? Oh, like, are you an accountant? Yes. Anyway, you get a highlighted thing because I know it'll go to Whip Home. Right manager. Okay, so right person, right job, right manager. Now, of course, I could go into lots and lots of detail in each of these, but I wanted to give you a little snapshot of each. The right person is someone who fits your organisation and its culture. Every organisation has different cultures. I remember many years ago working in HR, I was working for a women's fashion chain. Not one of the upmarket ones, I'm not going to name them, sort of that, you know, everyday kind of wear, not particularly expensive. And I was having to recruit retail workers for their stores around the country. And this lady came into the interview and she was the best dressed candidate I had ever had. Immaculate. The hair, the makeup, the clothes, the accessories, everything. Looking through her resume, she was a former flight attendant. Doesn't matter which airline it was for, but you know, she had the whole grooming thing. Now I know some of you are sitting there going, did you see the flight attendant on my last flight? Right, so this one was old school, it was a few years ago too. You know, immaculately groomed. Did a fabulous interview. Well spoken, answered my questions, had great experiences. I didn't give her the job. Do you know why I didn't give her the job? Because she was completely wrong. We were in little shopping centres where, you know, nobody dressed up. The clothes she wouldn't have even worn herself. She had great skills, but she wasn't right for our culture. Now, there was nothing wrong with our culture. It was a good organisation. I enjoyed working there. I still occasionally buy their clothes. But you've got to get the right person for your culture. Many of you here ever hired someone and quickly realised they were not your culture? Yes? It's easy to do, and I'll give you a little example. And this is getting a little bit of audience participation here. When I think about culture, a good example I use is the 3 major airlines in Australia. Qantas, Virgin Blue, Jetstar. They all do effectively the same thing, don't they? They get you from A to B without falling out of the sky. They do. They effectively do the same thing. They go to the same places. But they each have very different cultures, or what we would call brands. So what I want you to do quickly at your table is I want you to come up with one word for each of their brands. So there's one word for Qantas, one for Virgin Blue, one for Jetstar. And I can come up with words to describe their cultures that all begin with the letter C. C for cat. Right? So what is a word beginning with C that you could use to describe each of their cultures? I'll give you a minute, go. I'm going to come right down the front here, so I apologise to people on the back. So at this table and tell me, what's a word that you use to describe Qantas? Caring? Oh, I like caring. That's very good, thanks, Elle. Oh, and she's happy to get the highlight with, right? What are some other words that we had for Qantas that start with C? Crusty. But I might have to get you on another way, Sandra. That's very clever. Crusty. Here, what's up the back? Corporate, I heard. Yes, and what was that? Classy. Classy, yes. Corporate, classy, conservative are words that we often get, okay? Let's go now to Virgin Blue. Maybe over this table here. What's a word that beginning with C that you use to describe Virgin Blue? And they're all looking at me going, don't pick me. Creative. Oh, I like that. Very good. There you go. You can find something creative to do with that. Creative. What's another word? Over here. Childish. We're getting some opinions in here as well, aren't we? Yes. The other one that they quite like is they're cool. Yeah. You could say funky, but then it kind of ruins the whole starts with C thing. But can you see how that brand is quite different to Qantas? Okay, here's the difference. I'm a Qantas frequent flyer. When I get on Qantas, they look at my boarding pass and they say, "Good morning, Miss Schmidt, you're in row number whatever." When I get on Virgin Blue, and it happens occasionally, they go, "Hi Karen, you're down the back." Which that was smart, they wouldn't put the Qantas frequent flyers in the back row because we're never going to convert. But that's another story. Now, Jetstar. I have a feeling that many of you have got a similar word, so we're all going to do it together. On the count of three, I want you to yell out your word beginning with C for Jetstar. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've heard a combination of cheap and crap. Except for you, you had something different, Sam. What was yours? Crappy. Oh, crappy. That makes it so much better. Now, there's nothing wrong with cheap. They market themselves as Australia's discount airline or Australia's low-cost airline. That's fine. People will fly with them. Put your hand up if you've ever flown with Jetstar by choice. Maybe not in this crowd. But they serve the purpose of the market. Here's the problem. If you buy a ticket on Qantas, as I have, and you turn up to the airport and they say, "I'm sorry, Miss Schmidt, but we won't be able to get you to your destination on Qantas, but we'll put you on Jetstar," how do you feel? Let down, terrified. It's not what you bought the ticket on. Now, they don't give you any compensation. They don't say, "We'll refund you the difference," or "Here's a voucher to buy a meal," because you have to pay for the food on Jetstar and not on Qantas. So I feel let down. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have, if I bought the ticket on Jetstar from the beginning, I would have gone, "Flying Jetstar today, that's fine, I will deal with that." But I thought I was going to Qantas. So here's what employers do. They hire you, and they make out that they're the Virgin Blue of accounting. I usually say my apologies to accountants, but I'm not going to. They tell you they're the Virgin Blue of their industry, and you join and you discover you joined Qantas or Jetstar. Who's had this experience? Where it's been misrepresented. You know, this is a big problem. You need to be realistic about what your culture is, who fits into it. So I suggest you go back to your workplace, and here's a little activity. Go and ask people who work for you. Maybe if you're brave, ask your customers or suppliers as well. Can you describe the culture of our organisation in a few words? It doesn't have to begin with the same letter like mine did. But just to say, when you think of this, what are some key words that come to mind? Maybe give them a big long list of different words if that's going to help them, and ask them to pick out the ones that they think describe you. Now, if there's anything in there that you feel is less than flattering, well, it's your opportunity to do something about it. But it's also your opportunity to be realistic about how you're perceived. And then when you go out marketing to find candidates, when you go to people like Communicat and say, "This is the kind of person we want," you know what your culture is. Because doesn't it, Robin, make your job very hard when they act as though they want a candidate who fits a Qantas culture, and you know they're not a Qantas. They're a Virgin Blue or a Jetstar. And then they wonder why the person doesn't stay. Right, so you've got to get... And the final part, the RM, is the right manager. I talk about engagement a lot, and I have this thing I call engageability. This idea that not everybody has in them the ability to become engaged at work. Some people are just sleepwalking through life. Some of them are on your team, aren't they? Yes. But I think if you're going to expect your staff to be engaged, that the manager, the leader, has to be engaged themselves. They have to really enjoy what they're doing. You are the role model. You are the example. You can't say, "Oh, that engagement stuff's for everybody else." It has to start at the very top of the organisation. It has to be that the leaders in your organisation are doing the right jobs. Jobs that use their strengths, rather than some little, "Well, you must, if you're a partner, you must do these duties because we deem that's what a partner looks like." Well, why can't it be that these are the things that need to be done at the partner level, and if this person's good at these ones and you're good at those ones, let's share them out differently. Why do we have to follow a very old, antiquated model of doing things when it's much better to use the strengths? If you know one of your partners, and I use that term, you know, I know it's a law accounting type term, think senior manager in your organisation. If you know one of your senior managers has great people skills, they're excellent interacting with senior level clients and addressing staff and communicating with them, let them just do that. If someone else is good at the operational side, just let them do that. Why is it that once you get to a senior level, you have to necessarily be across everything? Doesn't necessarily work. It's a different way.